The only way to start your day.
Repurposed into a shield for individuals linked to Sudan's brutal conflict and investigate how rogue immigration officials bypassed biometric safeguards, manipulated applications, and erased digital records to grant citizenship to persons associated with the Rapid Support Forces and other shadowy characters. With children's identities reportedly used as decoys and approvals traced to senior authorities, the unfolding scandal shows how the country's sovereignty was traded for money and favors.
Yeah.
My friend, it's like a horror movie.
I'm telling you.
But we're going to tell you the story because what are those? They're pictures of people. You want to know the pictures of these people, who they are?
Tell us.
Director of General Immigration Services, Evelyn Cheluget. We also have over here Mohammed Hamdan Dalgalo Musa, alias Hameti, and his younger brother Mohammed Hamdan Dalgalo are also to have acquired Kenyan passports. There's also the controversial Zimbabwean businessman Wicknell Chivayo, who is also among those said to be waiting for the document. Even him, you want to give him Kenyan citizenship? All right, it's good.
This Chivayo guy, is who I think it is. Anyway, I'll tell you. There's an individual who's been seen around with high-flying politicians in the country. Is he the one?
Well, it's all a wait and see. I'm telling you, it reads like a playbook. Do's and don'ts, how to guard the spiritual essence of Ramadan. That's on page 2. I spent lavishly with Mackenzie after selling my land, said a witness. Just in case you were wondering, the whole Hola cases are still going on. And this is the testimony of somebody, his security guard actually turned foe. We'll tell you that story as well. My goodness, the minutes are not enough. How rogue officials gave warlords, business crooks, Kenyan passports. We'll come back to that story because it's a big one. Russia job suspect claims threats to life. Court orders plea on charge. These people who are taking people to go and die. That's what's happening. MPs censure Gachagua and chide the moribund NCIC. It's been the cry for the longest time that the National Cohesion and Integration Commission has not been able to actually nip a lot of this nonsense that we see in the bud. 6-month HIV jab offers relief to users who take the daily pill. We saw that folks started to get so those injections yesterday with the 100,000 jabs that came into the country. COB flags glaring gaps in infrastructure fund bill. Really? The COG? You've seen the gaps? This is great. We'll look into that as well. And that just is like the cover of some of the stories that we're seeing this morning in the Standard. We're going to come into those in a little more detail as we get into it. I want to go over to you, sir, to Nation.
Yeah, so let's go to the Daily Nation. And on the front page, activists under siege. So we talk about Brian Kagora, Zimbabwean, Kizza Besigye in Uganda, who was abducted in Nairobi. Brian Kagora was denied entry Kenya at the JKIA. Bob Njagi seized in Nairobi on August 19th, 2024. Maria Sarungi escaped an attempted kidnapping in Nairobi in December 2024. And Nicholas Oyo kidnapped alongside Bob Njagi, detained in Uganda for 38 days. And Martin Mavenjina, who's a Ugandan, detained at JKIA and deported to Uganda on July 5th. And we have Mwabili Mwagodi, who was abducted in Tanzania last July and arrested in Kenya this month. So we have sharp fraud. DPP wants 15 hospital owners charged. Your insurance scheme lazima iwak. Russians want to kill me, suspected mercenary tells police as he surrenders. Okay. Revealed, governor's husband owns luxury hotel near Nakuru State House. That is husband to Nakuru Governor Susan Kihika. Delivery hitches keep relief aid in warehouses as Turkana residents starve. Umesikia hiyo shida? So we have things that are supposed to be delivered, but there's a problem in delivering the same, yet people need the food. Yeah, so those are the stories that we have. And Sarah Cohen's bid to stop murder trial dismissed. That matter is still in court. I wait for justice to be dispensed with. And why governors and senators talks collapsed. So there's a talk that collapsed. Now county bosses have protested what they termed intimidation, bribery, and unfair treatment by the Senate Accounts Committee. You want to look at the Star?
Sure. On the front page of the Star this morning, permanent jobs era to give way to 5-year stints in civil service. You know how when you have a change in guard, the people who are the worker bees are always there. Well, that might be different now because you have a 5-year civil service contract if this goes into effect. Ritz-Carlton Mara, Environment Court clears 5-star hotel after petition flops. So everybody was, this thing what we're talking about, whether it was going to be put up or not. Well, the court says you can go ahead and do it. Kalonzo Gachagua team turns heat on Ruto and allies in campaign offensive. It's going to be a very busy weekend. We're going to see around the weekend and things being said. So it looks like it's going to be interesting. Snake venom found to kill cancer cells without hurting the body. So I don't understand. You now be injecting it. I'm sure there's a way they're going to sort it out so that it can, look like plasma and then you can inject it. I don't know. But that is interesting that it can actually do that. And I'm sure it's still under, a lot of investigation, scrutiny, trials and all of this. And so there's that story again of CS Roko saying that public workers will serve under contract and not in situations of permanency anymore. Ruto announces new pay rise for prison service. It would be great if they actually would clean up the prisons. We just read the story the other day of how it's just an hellhole, literally. How provision in ODM law could save Oburu-led NDC. That NDC is supposed to happen in a couple of weeks, is it not?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
For them to figure out exactly what's going on. CJ unveils 5-year plan to slash court backlog and digitize the system. All right. Do you remember a gentleman called Cohen?
Yes.
He was murdered.
Yes.
It was alleged that his wife murdered him.
Yes.
Wairimo has been in and out of prison as well as in a court trial. She's asked for this trial to be terminated. I mean, come on, all this time you guys have not been able to figure it out. Can you just end it? Well, the court says no. The court has rejected Wairimo's bid to terminate the Cohen murder trial, and they said this thing is going to go on. We're not going to let it go, and perhaps have adequate evidence to push that. All right, some of the stories making headlines today. You want to hear this passport story?
Tell me.
All right.
First of all, do you know how difficult it is for us to get passports?
Tell me, how is that, by the way, difficult for you
It's
to get
not
passports?
easy, man.
How? Why?
It's not easy.
Why not? I remember getting passports for my kids. Wasn't easy at all. But I know that in Nigeria, if I were in Nigeria, like I remember I was in South Africa and my bag was stolen. And so, of course, my passport was in my bag. And I had to go to the Nigerian High Commission in Johannesburg. I got an emergency travel certificate. I was in Lagos that day. The next day, actually, I was in Lagos the next day. And I lodged my stolen passport at the passport office at Ikoyi.
Yeah.
And the next day at 1 o'clock, I had my new passport.
But when I was applying for my passport, I remember it took me close to 5 months, I think. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
And that's, anyway. It's in your life. And I was actually just renewing it. From the old passport to the new passport.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard people say that if you pay somebody something, you can get your passport in 2 days.
It's true.
My thing is that why not then just have an express desk?
Yeah.
And say, okay, you want your passport in 2 days, pay 10,000 shillings. Don't make it seem like it's some underground shadowy deal, because guess what? If they can do it in 2 days, then they can do it in 2 days. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That if somebody somewhere, Dennis can go to the guy over there and say, that means you can actually
others
do
will
it.
actually get it on the very day.
Yeah. That means you can actually do it. I hear that people who are not in the night, who go to other offices,
get it faster.
Kisumu, you actually get it much quicker.
Yeah.
So my point is that it can be done. So why not just do it? If you want to charge an express service, then charge.
Charge it so that we know.
It happens
so you
in
just
many
have
countries.
a standard. You say if the normal way is 30 days, so you know when you're getting your passport, it's going to take 30 days.
Yes.
But if you need it faster,
if you want express to get it in 2 weeks, then you pay extra 5,000.
True.
Put it out in the open. I actually don't see a problem with that. Put it out in the open and know that you're charging an extra fee for express. This thing of underground should not have to be the case.
Underground shadowy deals.
But that's just me. How rogue officials gave warlords business crooks Kenyan passports. You want to know? Details have emerged of how rogue immigration officials, allegedly acting on instructions from senior government figures, aided one of Sudan's most wanted warlords, Mohammed Hamadan Dagalo Musa alias Hemeti, and Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, the younger brother of Rapid Support Forces Commander Hemeti, as well as several of his allies and family members, to acquire Kenyan passports, with others reportedly in the pipeline. So covert was the operation that some of the aliens filed application forms using details of minors as a smokescreen to derail prying eyes. Only their photos attached at the bottom of the forms with mustaches and adult physical features gave their ploy away. Do you understand? A child then with
With a beard.
This AI will kill us. Okay, I don't know. Investigations by the Standard have established how the government deployed an intricate web of underhand dealings involving powerful individuals within the security system, operatives from the Rapid Support Forces and the Department of Immigration, who colluded to process the passports. In the discreet exercise, immigration officials bypassed established protocols and guidelines to hawk the Kenyan passport to several aliens of Sudanese origin, a South Sudanese national and an Ethiopian citizen. However, the bulk of approvals was done for Sudanese nationals linked to the RSF. Controversial Zimbabwean businessman Wicknell Chivayo is also said to have applied for his application, and it is still being processed.
Yeah, he's actually the guy I was telling you earlier.
Yeah? Consequently, some of the names whose profiles have been flagged globally over their involvement in grave human rights violations in the ongoing civil war in Sudan received an umbrella of deceptive protection by acquiring citizenship and becoming holders of Kenyan passports. The Standard got rare access to some of the documents that were used to legitimize more than 20 Sudanese nationals as Kenyan passport holders through naturalization. The details include application forms that were uploaded into the application system and scanned signatures. However, unlike applicants who have to present themselves to immigration officers, have to take their photos and biometrics and documents verified, the aliens did not go to the offices. Instead, they sent their pictures to an immigration official to process their documents. The applicants also sent scanned pictures of their signatures to their links at the immigration office in Nairobi, who later processed them and included them in their forms. In the application forms, however, they indicated a number that belongs to Safaricom and appears in several forms that the Standard was able to access. Yesterday, however, moments after details emerged of the rot that saw a crucial government document handed over to aliens without breaking a sweat, sources within immigration confirmed to the Standard that Dagalo's passport had been deleted from the immigration database. Should I continue?
Please continue.
As in, when the story just came out, somebody said, Okay. His footprints, however, appear in one of the application forms listed for a minor identified child. However, a document seen confidentially by the Standard indicates that he had listed this number plus 254-722-000000 as his number. Hold on. You know when you do a reversal or when somebody from Safaricom needs to confirm something from you?
The customer care number.
The customer care number. So that's the number that he put there. Somebody didn't see that number and it wasn't weird at the time? Okay. He used this form and applied for one of his children. The number is the official number of the telecommunications giant Safaricom. His physical address was also indicated that he's a resident of Dubai. In another application seen by the Standard, details indicate that the applicant was a minor born on the 6th of June 2020. However, a scroll through the file indicates that this photo attached belongs to an adult. The picture of the adult is that of Mohammed Emukhatar El Nur Haron El Dawi, a Sudanese national born in 1978 in El Ganana. His expired Sudanese passport is among those form part of the database in the applications. According to one source, details of children were used as a decoy in some of the applications, which was common and was part of an effort to derail any external investigations. This was then altered by immigration officials who generated the passports with the names provided by their handlers. It goes on and on and on and on, but what are we talking about here? Somebody allowed this process to go on. Somebody was sent this number for Safaricom, 00000. Somebody took the picture that was sent. What did they send it by WhatsApp? Did they send it by email? But what they sent was a photo. And the way you actually have to go and have your biometrics captured. They said, no, not necessary. See, his passport will just give you.
You need to go sign the document.
You need to sign the document. There needs to be verification that these documents are
send a
true.
digital signature.
Chukuna. everywhere that now the US, because they're flagging this guy,
Yeah.
and then they start to do the investigation. Kenya is just popping up. Kenya. What? Then you find out that actually, yes, you gave him a passport, but the picture on the form was that of a child.
Yes.
Whose child is this? We don't know.
And even the date of birth is of a child in 2020.
The child will be 6 years old this year, but the application is for an adult. Who does this?
Yes.
Who's doing this? And then you're giving warlords your Kenyan passports. Oh yeah, no. Continue.
The passport is such a serious security matter because remember, even the printers that we use, right, are actually imported from France, I think. They're also the guys who maintain the system. That's number one. Number two, the booklets have so many security features because it is not only just a travel document, it is a security feature because remember, Kenya shares that passport in East Africa. So it is an East African document. But people have found a way of bypassing that and giving it to individuals who don't deserve it. One asks the question, who in this chain looked at that and said, he in the orders from up above? Because I dare say, this is not something that junior staff just do without getting orders from someone.
Somebody says, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Because by the time a junior staff is getting a picture of a child, getting the application of an adult who's obviously not Kenyan,
Getting a number that you know is...
you know very well it's a somebody said, wewe funga macho
Funga
na
macho.
ufanye vile nimekuambia.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And then also when you go to the officers who take your biometrics, those who collect your forms and everything, it is a chain of command. Because at some point you also get into like a supervisor who goes through your details and everything as before they then hand it over to the next person who sees that. And then there's a final person who actually signs for that passport to be printed. You want to tell me no one in this chain saw these anomalies if you can just pick it here in the studio? But to what benefit?
Oh, come on, it's money. Obviously, by the time somebody's willing to go through all of this, there's a hefty amount of money that they've paid for this process for everybody to keep quiet and close their eyes to something like this. So money was obviously given. Somebody's allowing it to happen. So if you can see this one, you have to ask yourself, how many more like this exist?
And the other question is, you look at these individuals using Kenyan passports and details, right? One then would look at it and say, if you need to say... Dagalu, right, the brother to the RSF leader, he has been accused of being the person behind procurement of weapons for the war, right?
Yeah.
So there's a high possibility he was using Kenyan passport to just get through the system. You know what I mean? Because if you show your Sudanese passport, questions will be asked. But you show a Kenyan passport, like, okay, that's a peaceful country, does not have a weapons embargo. We can do business with them.
It's crazy. I don't know.
What are we doing? Because Kenya has been seen as a heaven where things to do with diplomacy, finding peace in these neighboring countries have always been done in Kenya. But right now we're just smearing that on the efforts that have been built over time.
Yep.
For what benefit? For a few millions here in dollars?
Yeah, that's it. You will be surprised at what people will then do
because of money.
For money.
Anyway,
over to you.
So there's fraud in Shah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And the DPP wants 15 hospital owners charged. Now, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Brenton Igonga, has recommended the prosecution of over 15 private hospital proprietors suspected of receiving millions of shillings in fraudulent payments from the government insurer, the Social Health Authority. In a statement released Wednesday, Igonga said that he had received the files from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and recommended the proprietors prosecution for fraudulently receiving millions from Shah. Now, upon review, the DPP has directed charges against the following persons and institutions. That's according to the statement. Now, the charges include conspiracy to defraud operating unlicensed health facilities and obtaining money by false pretense. Mr. Harun Liluma, an employee of the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Council, is also set to face charges for unauthorized access to a computer system and abuse of office. Those recommended for prosecution include Mohammed Kulo Ali and Hassan Adan Ibrahim, who are said to be directors of Danaba Care Hospital. The DPP recommended charges of conspiracy to defraud of operating unlicensed health facilities contrary to the Medical Practitioners and Dentist Act against them. When this individual from KMPDC, right, was accessing SHA portal, someone from SHA must have given him access to it,
Of course, no.
right?
Absolutely.
So that means if we want to prosecute anybody, it has to start from within SHA, those who allowed all this to happen. By the time getting to KMPDC as well, we have to look into that. That entire chain, heads need to roll. Fine, you look at the proprietors for defrauding SHA, so we agree, take action. But you equally have to clean those who are running SHA at the background because they granted access.
And I look at the layers of all of this, and it's just too much. That whether you look at the education system, and then there are folks who just sat and said, how can we actually get money? And then SHA, this thing that is so important when it comes to the health of people, health of the nation, that you still want to defraud people there. In your immigration, which is supposed to be caring. By the way, just surprise, this immigration is under Interior, Abi.
Yeah.
Yeah, CS Mokomen.
Yeah.
Just hello. So whether you want to look under that, security of the nation, education, health.
Healthcare.
Everywhere you look, unfortunately, there are deep layers of this kind of thing that we see where things are happening that they shouldn't be.
And you see the areas that you've just mentioned, these are the most basic things that the country needs for it to move forward. That for us to get to a point where we are able to see this country transform to become a developed nation, we must fix our healthcare, which is in shambles. We must fix our education, which is on its knees. We have to, if you want to do business outside the country, you need that passport. But what happens when you get out of the country and the first thing you're asked, how did you get this passport in the United States? Because they do not trust that you got it in the legal way. That is exactly what you're doing.
Do you know what it does? That a story like this makes it out on the global scale. I mean, first of all, the reason why it was flagged is that it came from the US.
Yes.
Right? So guess what? You travel anywhere on a Kenyan passport now. The question, even if it is not overt, even if it is in the mind of the person who is serving you, they're going to ask the question, is this authentic?
Yeah.
It just happens. That's how it happens.
Yeah.
That's how it started happening with Nigerian passports, because there were some people who were just doing nonsense.
Yeah.
And then before you knew it, everywhere you go, you have a Nigerian passport and somebody's asking a million questions about where you're going or what you're involved in.
You're always being pulled in the background.
That's why
checks.
it's so dangerous for things like this to happen.
Yeah.
Then you get flagged. It's so dangerous.
Yeah. Because then in all these airports, you just find immigration officers with a red alert on Kenyan passports. So anyone with a Kenyan passport is taken to the back room, being asked questions that they ought not to be asked. Why? Because an individual at immigration decided to bypass the protocol and the laws that they're there. That's exactly what you're doing.
It's a place you don't want to be in.
No.
Trust me.
It's not.
It's a place you do not want to be in, to then have to experience that or to actually have that tag on you.
I think people,
I don't know how you're going to clean something like this up, though.
I mean, this is the point where the president just has to act, man. People in immigration, people in interior, man, people have to go. The more you keep them there, the more you're looked at as if you are part of that problem. Political responsibility here must be taken.
It's a bit freaky, but I reckon that there are many more layers to this whole dragnet than we're actually, privy to. And just who's the journalist who wrote the story?
The one from
this one for immigration.
Immigration. It is who is it? Harold Odhiambo.
Yeah, I mean he's got all the details here, but I think it goes a lot deeper. You need to be able to find it out.
Because even the Russian story that you talk about, again, immigration officers involved.
What are we doing? And it's only 7 o'clock.
Spice up your life. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your